We are lied to about what it means to age gracefully. They tell you it's a time for winding down, but that is the most dangerous deception you will ever face. I spent a decade waiting for a peace that never came, holding on to grudges that didn't matter, and worrying about children who had their own lives to lead. I was alive, but I wasn't living. Most people my age are walking ghosts, haunted by the someday they never reached. If you are in your 60s or 70s, you are at a tipping point. You can either shed the weight of these 5 meaningless traps right now, or carry them into a sunset that feels more like a prison. Today, we stop the cycle. This isn't just advice. It's your survival guide for the most important years of your life. Welcome back to the Wisecast. If you are watching this, you have likely reached a stage of life where the horizon is closer than it used to be. For many, this realization brings a sense of panic or a frantic urge to fix everything. But the true wisdom of aging isn't about adding more to your life. It's about the art of subtraction. We spend the first 50 years of our lives accumulating careers, belongings, relationships, and identities. But if we don't learn to set those things down, they become a weight that sinks us in our final decades. I see so many seniors wandering through their golden years carrying heavy luggage from a trip they finished 30 years ago. They are tired, not because of their age, but because of what they refuse to leave behind. Today, we are going to identify the 5 specific things that are draining your battery and stealing your joy. The first meaningless thing we must stop wasting time on is carrying old resentments. Think of your mind as a high-end apartment. Why would you allow someone you dislike to live there rent-free for decades? When we replay past betrayals, the brother who cheated us out of an inheritance, the boss who fired us unfairly, the spouse who let us down, we are not hurting them. We are poisoning ourselves. Every time you rehearse that old argument in your head, your body reacts as if it's happening right now. Your cortisol spikes, your heart rate increases, and your peace vanishes. We think that by holding on to our anger, we are somehow seeking justice. But the only person being punished is the one staring back at you in the mirror. Forgiveness is not about saying what they did was okay. It is about deciding that your present moment is too valuable to be spent in a past that no longer exists. When you release a resentment, it feels like dropping a heavy stone into a deep river. At first, there is a splash, a moment of reckoning where you acknowledge the pain. But then, there is the silence that follows. That silence is where your life begins again. Many seniors fear that if they forgive, they are losing a part of their identity. We become the person who was wronged. But that is a hollow identity. It offers no warmth and no future. As we age, our emotional energy becomes a finite resource. You only have so much fuel left in the tank. Do you really want to spend it fueling an engine of spite? Real freedom comes when you can look back at a painful memory and feel nothing but a mild curiosity. You've taken the power back. You've decided that the you of today is far more important than the you who was hurt back then. To hold a grudge is to drink poison and wait for the other person to die. This is the reality of the resentment trap. Imagine the mental space you would clear up if you simply deleted the old files of who owed me what. We often stay stuck because we are waiting for an apology that is never going to come. Perhaps the person who hurt you has passed away, or perhaps they have no memory of the event at all. Waiting for their validation is giving them a remote control to your happiness. Why would you leave your joy in the hands of someone who didn't care for you in the first place? In these later years, your mission is to become emotionally light. Every grudge is a pound of lead. Drop the lead, and you'll find that your spirit is actually quite capable of soaring, even at 70 or 80. Creating a Zen garden in your mind requires daily maintenance. It isn't a one-time decision to forgive. It is a practice of letting go every time the old thought ripples through your consciousness. You notice the thought, you acknowledge it, and then you rake the sand smooth again. This leads us to a deeper understanding of our own agency. We cannot control the past, but we have absolute authority over our interpretation of it. You can choose to see yourself as a victim, or you can choose to see yourself as a survivor who is finally choosing peace. This internal shift is the prerequisite for everything else we will discuss today. Without clearing out the old resentments, you simply won't have the room to practice the other habits of a joyful elder. You'll be too busy fighting ghosts to enjoy the living. The second meaningless thing we waste our years on is worrying about things we cannot control. This is the control panel trap. We sit in front of a massive board of buttons and levers, frantically trying to adjust the lives of our adult children, the state of the global economy, or the political climate. We believe that our worry is a form of protection. We think, if I worry enough, I can prevent something bad from happening. But worry is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it gets you nowhere. For seniors, this often manifests as projecting onto children. We see our kids making mistakes, and we want to jump in and fix it. We feel their pain as our own. But their journey is theirs, just as yours was yours. By worrying, you aren't helping them. You are just doubling the amount of anxiety in the world. Worry does not empty tomorrow of its sorrow. It empties today of its strength. Think about the storm raging outside. You can pace the floor, check the weather app every 30 seconds, and stress about the shingles on the roof. Or you can make a cup of tea, sit by the fire, and trust that you have done what you can. Wisdom is the ability to draw a hard line between my business and not my business. Most of the things that keep us up at night fall firmly into the second category. The economy will fluctuate, leaders will rise and fall, and the weather will do what it wants. Your job is to manage the 10 feet of space directly around you. How do you treat your neighbor? What do you put in your body? How do you speak to yourself? That is your kingdom. Everything else is just noise. The worry maze is a mental trap designed to keep you from the exit. The exit is the present moment. When you worry, you are living in a hypothetical future, a what-if scenario that hasn't happened and likely never will. Research shows that 85% of the things we worry about never actually occur. And for the 15% that do, we usually handle them better than we imagine we would. MC4. So, you are essentially paying interest on a debt you may never even owe. This is an expensive way to live. In your 60s and 70s, time is your most precious currency. Why would you spend it buying fake catastrophes? To break this habit, you must practice radical acceptance. If a problem has a solution, find it and act. If it has no solution, worry is irrelevant. This realization is the key to unlocking a level of calm you likely haven't felt since childhood. Think of your mental energy as a scale. On one side, you have the weight of your worries. On the other, you have the lightness of your actual experiences. Most seniors have scales that are tipped so far into the future worry side that they cannot even feel the present joy side. When you consciously decide to stop worrying about things outside your control, the scale begins to balance. You start noticing the taste of your coffee, the way the light hits the trees, the sound of a bird. These are the feathers of life that actually matter. The secret of health for both mind and body is not to mourn for the past, nor to worry about the future, but to live the present moment wisely and earnestly. When you stop trying to be the CEO of the universe, you finally have the time to be the master of your own soul. The third meaningless thing we must abandon is the desperate need to feel important. This is a hard one, especially for those who had high-powered careers or were the pillars of their families. Retirement can feel like a sudden drop into invisibility. The phone stops ringing, the emails stop coming, and suddenly, you are just another person in the grocery store line. Many seniors fight this by trying to dominate conversations, giving unsolicited advice, or dwelling on their past achievements. They are trying to stay on the stage of life even though the play has ended. But there is a magnificent freedom in being unimportant. When you don't have to prove anything to anyone, you can finally be who you actually are. You don't have to win the argument. You don't have to have the best house. You can just be. The transition from this center stage to the quiet forest is the most significant psychological shift of the senior years. In the forest, no one cares about your title or your bank account. The trees don't ask for your resume. We spend our youth building a brand of ourselves, the successful one, the smart one, the dependable one. In our later years, that brand becomes a straitjacket. We feel we must act a certain way to maintain our importance. But true self-respect doesn't come from the applause of others. It comes from a quiet internal knowing. If you need others to tell you that you matter, you are a slave to their opinion. If you know you matter simply because you exist as a part of this vast universe, you are finally free. Walking away from the crowd isn't a defeat, it's an ascension. Behind every importance trap is a mask. We wear the mask of the wise elder or the success because we are afraid that if people saw our true, vulnerable selves, they would lose interest. But the irony is that people are most drawn to authenticity, not perfection. When you stop trying to be important, you become relatable. You become a person people actually want to be around because you aren't exhausting them with your ego. Humility is not thinking less of yourself. It is thinking of yourself less. This is the pinnacle of senior health. When the ego shrinks, the heart expands. You stop looking for ways to be served and start looking for ways to serve, not for the credit, but for the connection. This shift from importance to presence is what turns an old person into an elder. A trophy in a dusty attic is a perfect symbol for past importance. It's a dead thing. If you spend your time talking about what you did 20 years ago, you are living in a graveyard. The thrill of the win is gone, and all that's left is the metal and wood. I see so many seniors who are stuck in their highlights. They can't enjoy today because they are comparing it to their peak in 1995. But your peak isn't a point on a graph. It is how you are showing up right now. Are you kind? Are you curious? Are you still learning? If the answer is yes, then you are more important today than you ever were when you had a fancy office. The need for external validation is a hunger that can never be satisfied. Feed yourself with self-acceptance instead. Perspective is the antidote to the need for importance. When you stand on a mountain peak and look at the stars, you realize that your entire life is a microscopic blink in the history of the cosmos. This shouldn't make you feel small in a bad way. It should make you feel relieved. If you are that small, then your mistakes aren't that big. Your failures aren't that catastrophic. The pressure is off. You don't have to be the hero of the story. You can just be a witness to the beauty of it. This cosmic humility allows you to enjoy the small things, a good book, a warm meal, a conversation with a friend, without feeling like you are wasting time. Because when you are no longer trying to be a big deal, everything becomes a big deal. The fourth meaningless thing we do is postpone our inner peace for later. We say, I'll be peaceful when the kids are settled, or I'll be happy when I get my health issues under control, or I'll relax once the house is sold. We treat peace like a destination at the end of a long, difficult road. But as any senior knows, the road never ends. There is always a new thing to deal with. If you wait for the perfect conditions to be peaceful, you will die before you ever experience it. Peace is not the absence of conflict. It is the ability to remain centered in the middle of it. It's like the surface of a lake. It can be mirror still even while there are fish eating each other and currents moving deep below. You must practice peace now, in your current body, with your current bank account. The calendar of someday is a graveyard of dreams. We spend our lives preparing to live, but we never actually get around to the living part. We think of peace as something we earn through struggle. But peace is a choice you make in the present moment. Peace is the only goal that can be achieved the moment you decide to pursue it. Every morning when you wake up, you have a choice. You can let the morning news and the stiffness in your joints dictate your mood, or you can choose to find a small pocket of stillness. This isn't toxic positivity, it's a survival strategy. If you don't claim your peace today, the world will happily fill that space with its chaos. The word now should be the only date on your mental calendar. Everything else is a distraction from the reality of your life. Imagine sitting in a busy city square. People are rushing, cars are honking, and the air is thick with noise. Yet, within yourself, you have a bubble of silence. This is the goal of the senior years. You have seen enough of life to know that the noise is temporary. You've seen crises come and go. You've seen trends rise and fall. This perspective should be your anchor. When you stop postponing your peace, you start to see that every moment has a peace potential. Even a difficult doctor's visit or a rainy day can be met with a calm spirit. It's about stopping the internal commentary that says, this shouldn't be happening. It is happening. Now, how will you meet it? If you meet it with resistance, you suffer. If you meet it with peace, you grow. As we age, time seems to speed up. The hourglass feels like it's emptying faster every year. But what if you could flip the glass? What if, instead of focusing on how much time is left, you focused on the depth of the time you have? 1 minute of true, deep peace is worth more than a decade of frantic, anxious living. We postpone our peace because we are afraid that if we stop doing, we will become irrelevant. But the doing is what's keeping you exhausted. Don't just do something, sit there. For a senior, The ability to sit in silence and feel content is a superpower. It means you are no longer a victim of your own mind. You have mastered the art of being, and in that state, time doesn't matter. The sand flows upward because the quality of your life has transcended the quantity of it. A cracked mirror still reflects the sun. Your life may be cracked by health issues, loss, or financial worries, but you can still reflect the light of peace. Postponing your happiness until your life is fixed is a fool's errand. The fix is the peace itself. When you are at peace, the cracks don't seem so bad. They become the places where the garden grows through. Many seniors find that their most peaceful years are their 70s or 80s, precisely because they finally gave up on trying to make everything perfect. They realized that imperfect and peaceful is 1,000 times better than perfect and stressed. Stop waiting for the storm to pass. Learn to dance in the rain, or better yet, learn to be the stillness at the center of the storm. The fifth, and perhaps most tragic meaningless thing, is disconnecting from yourself. We spend decades being the provider, the mother, the employee, or the boss. We play these roles so well that we forget who is actually playing them. When retirement hits and the roles fall away, many seniors feel a terrifying sense of emptiness. They don't know what they like, what they feel, or who they are without a task to complete. They have been running from themselves for 40 years, using work and family as a shield. Now, the shield is gone. This is why so many retirees get depressed. They are finally alone with a stranger, themselves. But this is not a crisis. It is an invitation. It is the chance to finally meet the person who has been carrying you through life all this time. Self-connection is the act of witnessing your own life as it happens. It's noticing the seasons change, not just on the calendar, but in your own soul. Many of us are so disconnected that we don't even feel our own emotions until they explode. We push down sadness. We ignore joy because we're too busy, and we treat our bodies like biological machines. But at this stage, your body is no longer a machine. It's a garden that needs careful tending. Disconnecting from yourself means you miss the subtle signals your heart and mind are sending you. The longest journey you will ever take is the 18 inches from your head to your heart. If you haven't made that journey by 70, when do you plan on doing it? It's time to stop the outward gaze and start the inward exploration. When you touch the surface of a still pond, you create ripples. Your self-connection is like that pond. If your mind is constantly agitated, you can't see the bottom. You can't see the beauty of what lies beneath the surface. Most seniors spend their time throwing rocks into the pond, worrying, complaining, or dwelling on the past. This keeps the water muddy. Connection requires stillness. It requires you to sit with yourself without a television, without a phone, and without a to-do list. It can be uncomfortable at first. You might feel a sense of boredom or anxiety. But if you stay with it, the mud settles. You begin to see your own worth, independent of what you produce. You realize that you are a miracle of consciousness, a witness to the universe, and that is enough. An old compass pointing toward the heart is a symbol of the great reorientation. For the first half of life, the compass points north toward achievement, accumulation, and external goals. In the second half, the compass must point inward. If you continue to try to follow the north needle, you will get lost. You will find yourself chasing things that no longer provide nourishment. He who looks outside dreams. He who looks inside awakes. Awakening in your senior years is the ultimate goal. It is the realization that everything you were looking for out there, validation, peace, excitement, was actually waiting for you in here. This isn't philosophy. It's a practical shift in how you spend your Tuesday afternoons. It's choosing reflection over distraction. Imagine a library full of blank books. This is your life from this moment forward. Many seniors feel that their book is already written and they are just reading the final chapters. But that is a lie. Every day you wake up, you are holding the pen. You can choose to write a chapter about discovery or a chapter about stagnation. You can choose to learn a new language, explore a new philosophy, or finally forgive that person from 40 years ago. Disconnecting from yourself means letting someone else hold the pen, letting the news, your family's expectations, or your own fears write the story. Reconnecting means taking the pen back. It means saying, I am still becoming. You are not a finished product. You are a work in progress until your very last breath. A cozy room with a fire and an open door is the perfect balance of internal comfort and external curiosity. It represents a soul that is at home with itself, but still open to the world. The soul should always stand ajar, ready to welcome the ecstatic experience. This is the opposite of the disconnected senior, who locks the door and hides from life. When you are connected to yourself, the world becomes a safer place because you know you can handle whatever comes through that door. You have a home base of internal peace. You no longer need the world to be perfect for you to be okay. This is the ultimate form of health. It's a resilience that doesn't come from vitamins or exercise, but from a deep, unshakable self-knowledge. Letting go of the backpack of regret is the first step onto the trail of your true senior years. Think about all the things you've been carrying. The "I should have done that," the "I wish I hadn't said that," and the "what if I had taken that job?" That backpack is full of lead weights. It makes every step of your journey twice as hard as it needs to be. When you drop it, you might feel a strange sense of lightheadedness. You've been carrying that weight for so long that you've forgotten what it feels like to be light. But as you walk further down the trail, you'll find that you have more energy, more curiosity, and more joy. The trail isn't about getting to a destination. It's about enjoying the walk. Planting a sapling is an act of radical hope. It's an investment in a future you might not even see. This is the essence of a connected senior. You are no longer living just for yourself. You are living as a part of the grand cycle of life. A society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they know they shall never sit in. When you stop wasting time on meaningless things, you finally have the energy to plant these seeds, whether they are literal trees or the seeds of wisdom in your grandchildren or the seeds of a new community project. This is how you achieve immortality. Not by living forever, but by leaving behind a world that is slightly better because you were in it. Your hands might be wrinkled, but they are still capable of creating life. The eagle soaring above the canyon sees the big picture. From that height, the obstacles on the ground look small. The meaningless things we've discussed, the grudges, the worries, the ego, are all ground-level problems. They only seem big when you are standing right in front of them. When you adopt the eagle perspective of an elder, you realize that most of what we stress about is just dust in the wind. This doesn't mean life doesn't have challenges. It means you no longer allow those challenges to define your existence. You see the canyon, you see the river, and you see the horizon. You understand that you are part of something much larger than your own individual story. This perspective is the ultimate gift of aging. It is the peace that surpasses understanding. The bridge from the dark shore to the light shore is built of your daily choices. Every time you choose forgiveness over resentment, you lay a plank. Every time you choose the present over worry, you secure a cable. Every time you choose self-connection over distraction, you strengthen the foundation. This bridge is your transition from a life of survival to a life of significance. It's not about being perfect, it's about the direction you are moving. Even if you only take one step toward the light shore today, that is a victory. The meaningless things are the anchors that try to keep you on the dark shore. They feel familiar, they feel safe, but they are drowning you. Cross the bridge. The light on the other side is warmer than you can imagine. As we close this journey today, look at this image of the sunset. In the morning of our lives, we are obsessed with the rising sun, with growth, ambition, and the heat of the day. But the evening sun has a beauty that the morning can never match. It has colors that only appear when the light is fading. Your life right now is that sunset. It is a masterpiece of complexity, shadow, and brilliant light. Don't waste it on things that don't matter. Don't spend your final chapters rereading the first ones. Release the tension, drop the arguments, and let go of the impossible expectations you've placed on yourself. The goal of aging is to return to your truest self, unburdened and free. Thank you for joining us on the Wisecast. Your journey is far from over. In fact, the most beautiful part is just beginning.